Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it's a beautiful day here in Southwest Florida. It is 90 degrees Fahrenheit and I understand that much of the United States is dealing with high temperatures this high or even higher, and that is in the the north, the Midwest U.S. So but this is typical here, and my orchids are outside. They're just loving it and doing oh so well. I've got a few blooms I want to share with you. I have first blooms, two first blooms, and two new blooms, repeat bloomers right here. But before I get into that, I want to share with you also the membership possibility now on my channel. So I'm going to continue to make videos just like I always have, but in addition to that, if you're interested, I will have some members only videos that I will share, and those videos are going to include some additional information, more information on my background, a little bit of my history, the specific crosses that I'm making, the flasks that I have in the laboratory, and maybe some interesting new things that I have going on here. I'm going to continue to bring you everything that I've brought you in the past, information on how I care for my orchids, how I'm crossing my orchids, and taking care of things in the laboratory, but just a little bit of an additional information in members only videos as we move forward. Members only, there are some perks, other perks that are associated with it. If you're interested, you can go to my main page, and there's now a new, yay, join button that's there, and you can join to be a member of my channel for some additional perks and information. Now, I'm sorry there is a fee associated with this. I've got it set for $2.99, and this is a monthly recurring fee, and it's a YouTube recommendation. This is additional information or background information on me, maybe some background scene type stuff, maybe a little bit more involvement in what I'm doing in my orchid growing space and in the laboratory. Only if you're, like I said, only if you're interested. I welcome all new members. So I'm excited to launch this. We'll see how it goes. Right now there's only one member level. There are other channels offer other member levels, but I'm gonna just do one for now, and we'll see how it goes. And again, what I'm trying to do is expand a little bit while keeping the regular videos coming to subscribers and viewers of my channel. All right, so let's get to these guys that I'm excited about. I'm excited about this. I'm sitting here with these blooms, and these are all in the Cattleya Alliance. I should say the dens are going crazy here, and I've got a first bloom on a den that I grew from seed that probably is going to be open in a week or two. I'm pretty excited about that, just to see. Always excited about first bloom on my seedlings, just to see what they look like. So anyway, back to here. These are all Cattleyas, and a couple of these two here I've had for a little while. This one, and let's start right here on this end. And I start here because this is young Kong, and the cultivar is Sun. I mention this first because right now I'm sitting in here in my orchid growing space with a nice wind blowing, and the only fragrance that I'm picking up is this guy right here. The other ones, this one, there is some fragrance, but this one is much more intense. So this has bloomed for me in the past. This is a repeat bloomer. It's a very vigorous plant. It does well. It's blooming, actually. I've had this plant, I think, for 3 years. It's blooming out of cycle a little bit. So this plant, for some reason, it threw up a pseudobulb, and it bloomed a little bit early. This plant, I've got it in this basket here because it was hanging and it was hanging on my fence, and when I took it out of the hanger and set the pot down, it was going to tip over. So I have it supported by this basket. It's got new pseudobulbs growing out of it, and when it was mounted on the fence, it grows away from the fence, so it became side heavy. So I had to put it in this basket. This is a huge Cattleya. I know a lot of people that have this same Cattleya. It grows really well for them also. And it is a great plant. It took a couple years before it really started blooming nicely for me, but for the past year, it's done really well. It had a really nice flush of bloom last year, and then this year, but I think it's going to have another flush of blooms as these other pseudobulbs enlarge. So there is, it's yellow. The flower is huge, first of all. It's yellow. It's got some purple tinging on the lip, and just a little bit on the petals themselves, but not very much. The thing about this flower, and I've seen some other siblings of this where the lip is a little bit more purple, but this is a cultivar called Sun, and so this is a clone. The fragrance on this thing, which is again the main thing that I smell right now, you know, maybe it's the yellow color of the flower, but it smells a little citrusy, a little lemony. But I also pick up some earthy tones and baby powder as well. So it's got a really nice, pretty intense, but a nice fragrance to it that has a lot of different mixes of the individual fragrances that I've learned to dissect a little bit. So a really nice bloom, nice. There may be a little hint of vanilla in there, but I think the main overriding is fragrance is kind of like the sweet powder fragrance from Young Kong Sun. I'm not sure. I might have to repot this plant just because it is growing out of the side of the pot. I think I'll let it go. I think I'll see how the two new pseudobulbs, if they put out a flower, how they do, and I may repot it at that time. The other thing is that I am going to use this flower in some crosses. I have a meeting I've got to go to, an orchid meeting that I'm going to on a little later on this week. So I'll bring this in for, it's just popular, popular voting on this. So it's, I'll bring it in, see how it does, but right after that, I'm going to do some crosses on it and see how they grow. There are a lot of registered crosses from this hybrid. The next one that I want to share with you is this one right here, and this is Wai Leopard Ching Hua. And I've also had this for a few years, and every year this puts out, one new pseudobulb, and I got a flush of blooms that come out on it. This also has some fragrance to it. This is more of an earthy fragrance to the earthy sweet fragrance on Wai Leopard. The thing is, when I brought this in, the plant blooms the same time every year. So June is when this plant blooms. I brought this plant into my local Orchid Society meeting when we have, again, just kind of a members judging. And when I bring it in, I always think how great the plant looks and how much I like the flowers, but other people, it's a very common plant. Other people bring theirs in and it puts mine to shame. Multiple flower spikes, multiple blooms. And part of the thing is, it is in a tiny, tiny pot. So this is maybe a 5-inch orchid pot, so it's really shallow. It hasn't spread out very much. It hasn't gone to the edge of the pot, but I think this thing also needs to be repotted. But it's a nice plant that I really enjoy, and the more that I grow orchids and the Cattleya Alliance orchids, the more I really appreciate the spots, and this is just loaded. Now, I looked at some of the progeny of this plant that from crosses that other people have made, and the spotting in many cases get through. A lot of people cross spots with spots, and they get spots, duh, but I've seen some interesting crosses of this with other non-spotted orchids, and sometimes the spots get through. So I'm excited about that possibility, so I want to cross some other things. I'm not sure whether I'll use this as the pollen parent or exactly what I'll do, but I haven't figured that out yet, but we'll see. All right, so these are, again, repeat bloomers. I'm excited about all my blooms, but what I'm really excited about is first bloom. So let's go in the front here, and this is Brassocattleya yellowbird right here. And this is it's my first bloom, but this is an old plant line, an old hybrid that was made by Roy Tokunaga at H&R Orchids. I've talked with him about this cross. He made the cross. He was kind of surprised that all the flowers were yellow like this with this level of spots. And this is a Brassavola nodosa hybrid, a direct hybrid. But the spotting on this is, and I was hoping, I've seen some yellowbirds with various degrees of spotting. So I picked this up maybe a couple of months ago, repotted it, and it just erupted. You know, I picked plants that have new pseudobulb that are coming out, but there are 3 bloom spikes. The first bloom spike is open with 2 flowers. It's got another bloom spike with 2 flowers that's about ready to open, and then another final bloom spike with 3 flowers that's probably a few weeks away from opening. But it's also putting out additional pseudobulbs. So I repotted it. This is a very vigorous plant. I picked this up at RF Orchids. I was surprised to see it there because it is such an old hybrid, and I just thought I have to have it. You know, I know Roy, the original breeder on this, and so I had to have it. I just love the spotting on this. I was lucky to get one that has good, intense purple spotting, and I want to use it in my crosses. It's an nodosa. I like the star-shaped of the flower, but I want to get it bigger. I've shared with you Clear Stars, one of my favorite. That is another nodosa hybrid, and that is a big star-shaped flower. This one is small, but I want to cross it with some of my big Cattleyas and see if I can get you know, a bigger star-shaped spotted Cattleya flower, and so we'll see how that goes. I don't know, but I'm pretty excited about it. No fragrance on this. Nodosas tend to be evening fragrant. I have not come out here and smelled this in the evening. I need to do that. Should have done it before the video, but I just didn't do that. Anyway, I really like this plant and this specific plant because of the spottiness. Okay, first bloom on this, even though I haven't had it for very long, but I haven't owned this plant for very long, but I'm just excited first bloom. Okay, let's move on to the final plant that I am the most excited about, and that is this plant. And this is Andy. I got Andy Kura. I have to look. Andy Urasaki, and this is a clone plant. So the cultivar on this is Orange Flash, and this is the color on this. And the flaring on this is just incredible. So I am really happy with this plant, and at least as far as the flowers and how the flowers look. I bought it not that long ago, so this is one that I picked up from Carmela Orchids. I bought it, I think, maybe about a year ago, and I think they said 2 years to bloom, so I got this thing to bloom quickly. It's a very, very vigorous plant. It's got another pseudobulb coming out of it here. The pseudobulb that bloomed is very vigorous. The only problem with this, if you can take a look at it, is the pseudobulb kind of curled down and it went sideways, and then it bloomed on the underneath. And I don't know whether that's something that I did because of how I've been growing this. I should have staked up this new pseudobulb, but to be honest, I didn't know it was going to flower because it wasn't ready to flower yet, I didn't think, and I just kind of let it go. But the flower, after the flowers came on, after I saw the bulbs, the flowers coming out on it, the buds coming out on it, I thought, okay, this is gonna be nice. But by that time, it had already grown down. The first flower that opened up, it was facing downward. It has since kind of lifted up a little bit and looks really nice. This flower is really very, very special. It's not as big as some of my other flowers and some of my other flared cattleyas, but the coloration is very unique. When it opened the first day, it was yellow, and it was all yellow, and you didn't see the flaring in the petals or the sepals very well. All you saw was a yellow flower with a little maybe burgundy in the lip. The color has developed on this flower now so that you can see the yellow in the petals and sepals, and then it's surrounded by a pink in those same tissues. So it's a really unusual type of flaring that's in Andy Urasaki. This plant, I should say, was only registered, I think, in 2021, so 3 years ago. So it's a new registered hybrid, but it's also a clone of this, whatever award this received. The hybridizer from this, as you might imagine, Urasaki, it sounds like it's a Japanese name, and the hybridizer is also has a Japanese name. I'm not sure of their country of origin, but this is just a really nice, a really nice orchid that I'm very happy with. I'm going to take this to my meeting. We'll see how it goes. Again, because the flowers are kind of lying down, it's kind of hard to look at and hard to judge. And what I've learned from this now is that I need to kind of, with the new pseudobulbs, I need to maybe stake these up a little bit so that the flowers stand up a little bit more at attention. And I should say, I'm looking at this, and it's a vigorous plant, so there's 2 new pseudobulbs. I've got this growing on my fence, kind of underneath the bush, and I couldn't really see what was going on. So I had kind of a partial surprise, a few weeks ago when I first saw that there were buds coming out on this plant, because I wasn't expecting it in a while. But good vigorous plant. The fragrance on this is not, it's there, but it's not remarkable. I mean, it's okay. So this is just a classical Cattleya sweet fragrance. Nothing unique, no undertones of different fragrances that I can spot in here. But still, I really like the plant for its vigor and for the flower. And I don't think I'm going to cross onto this because the plant's kind of small, but I'll harvest the pollinia and use it in other crosses probably. All right, so that's all I have. I got these new blooms that I'm pretty excited about. I hope you enjoyed my video today. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, and if you're interested, memberships are now available on my channel. And if you're interested, sign up for those. Small fee that'll give you access to and some perks that otherwise you wouldn't have access to. All right, again, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.